Hi, I'm Joey Pinz. People ask me, how did I lose 130 pounds? The quick answer is always discipline. I started my business, wasn't paying attention to my health, was eating too much, drinking too much sweets. My daughter was born. Next thing I know, I'm pre-diabetic, I have hypertension. I knew something had to change. Discipline. I, like many of you, have faced many challenges in your career, in your family, in your life, in your faith. How did you attack them? How did you approach them? How did you solve them, hopefully? It all had to have some degree of discipline. I'm also asked, how did you found and start a tech business that lasted over 25 years? Discipline. I was committed to it, enjoyed technology, didn't enjoy some aspects of it, but knew it was necessary. Discipline. Our podcast mission, how do we use discipline to better ourselves and society? Join me, please, as I talk to interesting people and discuss how they use discipline in their family and their passion and their careers and how it helped them. Our podcast vision, growth through learning from others. Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. It'll be light and serious. Join us, please. Thank you for consideration.
Arlin, great to see you.
It's great to see you, Joe.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We're here in Orlando at ConnectWise Secure. What are some of your goals this week, Arlin?
Well, my big goal for the week was IT Nation growth, which happened yesterday.
Right, yesterday, yes.
And we had a very full day.
I saw that.
A lot of content. NPS scores on the surveys were 91.
Wow.
So we managed to align the content with what people wanted to hear, and it was a great day.
And so growth is all about M&A activity and MSP's exit.
It's about transition,
Transition
okay?
is better.
So it's not just M&A. That's one of the things we heard when we did our first session. Well, I don't want to necessarily sell my company.
Right.
I know I got to transition it, but let's talk about other options. So yesterday we explored ESOPs, we explored family transitions, we explored, leadership team buyouts, and of course we talked about M&A because that's the most likely one for many, but it's not the only one. And so Grow is trying to look at that whole spectrum of options and then help people realize how to get ready for each one because they're all a little bit different. EBITDA is the driver for all of them. Even your kids don't want a company that doesn't make any money. But it's not necessarily the key driver if you're going to do a family transition, for example. So we had a great conversation about options and about all the other things that impact valuation. At the end of the day, it's about creating value in our organizations. And what goes wrong for most is they wait too long to really get serious about it. They wake up one day, they're tired, they've been doing this for 30 years, they're ready to do something different, and they haven't built value in their business, so they can't really afford to exit or transition out.
And this is the second growth event?
Second growth event. We were doing an M&A peer group for Evolve members for the last 4 years, and that's where the number of people that got involved with that continued to go up and up. And it was like light bulb moment. There's a lot of people in the IT Nation as a whole that need to hear this, not just Evolve members that are going through it. So that's where we transitioned to Grow in March. And it'll be a quarterly event now that will happen every quarter on Wednesdays of Evolve Week. So it's not just for Evolve members, but we're going to use the facilities that we've already got contracted. And so we'll be in Denver in August, and then we'll be in Tampa in Q4. And so it's going to be a recurring event. Content will change each time, so it's not a go once and you know everything you need to know because there's a lot to learn. And, it'll be an ongoing event.
And what MSP is a perfect candidate for this? Is it any size? Is it even a beginning, entry level?
It is, Joe. I mean, the reality is we're all gonna transition.
Right.
And you can choose to do it vertically, where you're in charge and you get to decide, or you can wait and go horizontally. But you are going to transition your business, and so it's for everybody. And the younger you are, maybe the more runway you have, but maybe not. So my advice is to get started and begin to think about it today. There's things you can do today to prepare no matter when exit or transition happens. You're going to do due diligence no matter which route you take. Get in the habit today of making everything digital, having an organized structure of filing. So when you get to the point you want to do it, it's not a fire drill and, oh my gosh, I got all these file cabinets full of paper that I need to go scan and organize and make sure they're signed. A lot of us that have been doing this a while, we have contracts in the file that we never really got signed. We had a verbal, you know, we trust you, they trust us. That doesn't go so well when you translate it to somebody else. So there's just a lot of little things you can do to make life simpler in the future. And if you start, you know, if you start from the beginning doing the right things, it makes it a lot easier down the road.
This is great for ConnectWise to do this, right? Because you're consistently helping the MSP community.
Well, it's important. You know, our industry, you know, we're still pretty young. 40 years or so.
I guess that's true. Huh?
And you know, there's a lot of learning that we've got to do. But, you know, ConnectWise is about the understanding that raising tides lifts everybody up. And we want to do that. You know, there's lots of things that an MSP, TSP has to think about. But it's not all technology. And we want to help them think through those things so that they can have not just a successful career in the technology industry, but they can have a successful life and they can have a successful future.
And the influx of these great PE firms that have kind of, I want to use the word validated, but have kind of shown how, you know, profitable and how, you know, revenue generating the MSP community is, almost validated it, and it's almost began the process of all this, or at least initiated it? Or?
Well, it's certainly put gas on the fire, right? I mean, there's no question that they have validated that the MSP industry is resilient because we came through the pandemic and we did well, that it's predictable, which is what they really like. They don't like surprises. So, you know, contracts are one of the best ways for us to make sure that we've got an ongoing income stream. So yeah, they have really validated and helped us really begin to understand, those of us in the industry, what we really have in our hands. You know, we took it for granted for a lot of years. And then they started to swoop in and you know, we can argue about whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, or they've helped the industry or hurt the industry. I think they've definitely validated and made it, you know, validated in a way that makes it more valuable in the business world.
And how about for those MSPs that are in a franchise? I always wonder, I don't know many about that, but there's like these franchisee MSPs. Do they have opportunities here as well?
Yeah, you know, franchises are a little bit different model, but typically they would have the opportunity to grow value in their franchise and be able to sell that to somebody else in the future. So, you know, there's more kind of tentacles, I would say, to the mothership, but still, you know, it's all about value creation. At the end of the day, that's what we're really trying to accomplish, not just with IT Nation Grow, but with ConnectWise product suite. How do we help our partners create value in their business?
The keynote was last night. There was launch of some products and some other exciting news. How did you like it?
I thought it was really well done. You know, the transition of the IT Nation to Greg Lawley's leadership is exciting. We've got a lot of new security products that are really, I think, going to hit the mark for people. So it was really a great keynote. You know, Jason felt comfortable on stage and, you know, has got a team around him now that he trusts. So he walked off the stage and let them take care of it. It was really good.
So with your initiative of Grow and what's happening at ConnectWise, what concerns you have? What keeps you up at night as far as the industry goes?
Well, the reality is that, you know, our industry is not as profitable as it ought to be. And when I look across our partner base, you know, there's 10% that are doing really, really well. There's another 10% that are doing okay. But when you get below that, it drops off pretty fast. And, you know, last quarter, the Service Leader Benchmark showed us that 26% of the partners that are benchmarked, okay, and these are not the lower end partners, these are people that are trying to grow their business, 26% lost money last quarter. That keeps me up at night because they don't have options. If you don't have a profitable company, it's a job. You've bought yourself a job, which is not a bad thing, but it's not something you can sell. People don't buy jobs.
Right.
They can just go find one of those. They can create their own. And so when these folks get to a point where they want to transition, there's just not a lot of ways out. That's what keeps me up at night. And most of it is education, Joe. It's not that they can't, it's that they are not sure how, and they don't have accountability behind them to actually do what they know they ought to do, which is where peer groups come into the picture, right? Most owners run their own company because they want to be their own boss, which is I did that for a long time. It's a great life. But I made a lot of choices on that journey where I should have been doing X and I decided to do Y because that felt better. You know, and sales is one of those areas, right? TSPs struggled to be able to sell. We got to learn how to sell. We got to get over the fact that we don't like salespeople. We got to have salespeople.
Yeah.
We got to sell stuff. That's the only way we can drive revenue and we can be successful.
What are some of your goals this week?
Connect with partners. I mean, that's what I'm here to do. My job is to just help partners be successful. And, you know, so I just want to listen to their stories. I want to hear where their pain points are, point them to things that we can do to help them, and look for opportunities that we can build into Grow, for example, for our next session to really address some of those challenges.
I think that's what you know, it's so nice that each MSP has such a different and unique story. You know, we can certainly put them into the 4 modes that, you know, ConnectWise team created, but generally, you know, where they came from, how they got there is always so fascinating to me.
Absolutely. It's a very unique kind of business that we're in, and we've got our own little tweaks and specialties. But at the end of the day, it's all about serving clients. And, you know, that's the consistent, and we've got to be good at that, and we've got to learn how to serve them well and earn the right to sell them things so that we can drive revenue.
And so your message to the MSPs, TSPs this week is what?
Plan and prepare. Get educated, put a plan in place, and I can hear the excuses already. Well, I don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
I don't know what's going to happen either, but I know something's going to happen. And you're in a better place if you've got a plan, even if you have to adjust it. Have a plan, understand how you're creating value in your company, because at the end of the day, that's going to be the key driver to what your outcome can look like. But you got to plan and prepare.
Arlin Sorensen, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time today.
It's great to be with you, Joe. Thanks for being here.
You be well.
All right.
Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. Please share this episode with 1 or 2 of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypinz.com. There you'll find lots of resources and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information, the video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations.